Hi guys, welcome to the video podcast of Silicon Spice, where tech leaders share life's flavors. And today I have my dear friend Kelly here. Wave hi.
Yeah, hello everyone.
Kelly currently is the head of industry marketing at Glean, which is enterprise AI company. And previously she's a marketing leader at Snowflake and DocuSign and stuff. So it's really interesting that I have her here to talk about product marketing and everything associated with this. So my first question is, what is your path into product marketing?
Yeah, I think actually like many product marketers, I actually started being a product marketer out of business school. So at business school, you're like exploring different career paths and talking to different companies, alumni. And that time in 2016, 2017, drone was like the hottest technology, and I got introduced to a drone company. And at first I didn't know what product marketing is or what I want to do, but they actually sort of brokered the idea to me, be like, how about you start being our first product marketer? I'm like, sure, this sounds interesting. So that's how I got into product marketing. Yeah, just pretty lucky. And then just found out this is also like where my passion is when I want to do long term.
Okay, so you had your business school background, and then you got into marketing after business school. And then right now you're head of industry marketing at Glean, and then previously you also work at Snowflake and DocuSign. So I'm curious, what are some maybe similarities and differences between the startups versus the public companies that's more mature?
Yeah. And also before DocuSign, I also worked at much smaller startups, like 100 people, 150 people. I would say my observation so far is it's actually pretty similar, especially the nature of work for like a product marketer. It's still to like understand your product, understand your customer deeply, like what their use cases are, like what's their pain point, and what value you can bring to help like alleviate some of their pain points. And then also like understand the competitive landscape, your ecosystem. So it actually doesn't really matter as much whether you're at a startup or like an established company. Obviously a startup, you like do more, kind of a wider scope, and then at bigger companies, you go deeper into a particular area. I will also say like different companies have like a different idea of like what the product marketer will own. So your scope will be different, or like the dynamics you have with your team members or like organization culture will be different. I think that's actually providing a bigger variance compared to whether it's a startup or an established company.
Got it. So it's very similar to product manager.
Yeah.
When you work for a startup, you have to wear different hats. You might play a customer support role, or PMM, or sometimes like tech lead, versus when you're a bigger company that you are specific into one niche and then own that domain. Yeah, that makes sense. What about the work pace? Do you think it's very similar, where startup is way faster?
I found it to be similar. I think both DocuSign and Snowflake happen to be pretty fast paced. I think some bigger companies might operate at a slightly slower pace. I've definitely like heard that or felt it from like the interaction I have with those companies. Sometimes we do like joint go-to-market together or like partner marketing activities together. Definitely feel certain companies tend to potentially move slower if they have a bigger org they need to drive alignment with. But if you're at like a company that's in general pretty fast paced, or the market that's changing rapidly, I think the pace is like fast regardless of the size.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay. The third question I have is, what is the typical day for you? That's one of my favorite questions, because I'm curious. A day as a product marketing leader will probably be a little bit different than a product leader. So what does the typical day look like for you?
Yeah, I think the better way to understand it is probably like a typical week.
Typical, okay.
Yeah, it's like the different tasks. So right, on Monday, maybe I'm doing like enablement for our sales team, like share with them some of our new messaging or use cases with them, and then maybe like catching up on some of the industry trends or like what's happening in the market with our customers. And then maybe the next day there's some events I will either attend virtually or in person. And that's like maybe either our organized events, like a field marketing event to reach our customers, or like an industry event where we're also using that as a go-to-market channel to reach our customers. And then potentially the next day, maybe I'm working on my own deliverables. That can be like a deck, or reviewing some assets like a white paper, like sequences, like blogs, like you name it. And then another big part of my job is like research. I would say like, especially now with like AI, like the technology is there, but how to map those new technology to like an existing workflow so you can actually add value. It requires a lot of industry know-how on the customer side, these expertise to really find the sweet spot where AI can drive value. So there's a lot of like deep research. A lot of it is, I find for me, is not be like, oh, write like a research report for me about topic X. It's like very interactive. So ask questions and dive deeper into specific topics, and then test the hypothesis, like validate with maybe potential like customers or prospects, and then go from there to sort of roll it out and get a very crisp messaging around it.
Yeah, so it sounds like, I think it's very similar. There are similarities as a product manager that you have to kind of block your focus time, and then you have your deliverables. And you also set aside time to do your own research and make sure that you stay on top of things.
Yeah, like keep your eyes and ears open, right? Like things coming up at Slack, on Slack with your coworkers, things coming up in the market, etc.
Yeah, that was actually a perfect segue to my follow-up question. So I was very lucky that I joined the very first Glean Go conference in May. And then I found it really fascinating how much AI can transform, the productivity in the workplace. So what would you consider is the biggest challenge in the AI B2B space, since you're front and center for that?
Yeah, I think there's a few. Like one is there's just so much noise in the market. Like sometimes we hear our customers be like, oh, what do you do? Like I feel like someone else is saying something very similar because all the vendors are pitching very similar things.
That's true. Yeah.
So how do, like as a vendor, obviously, how do you stand out? But also as like the customer who want to roll out AI within your organization, like how do you suss out like what's real, what's smoke, or like the difference between one solution versus another, like or build versus buy, and like all of that requires a lot of just research, but also you never know until you test it out. Honestly, you never know how accurate like an AI model is, particularly for your organization, until you really like try it. Because what worked for like another customer, even it's like the same, very similar type of company, may not work for you because everyone's technology toolkit is different, your data is set up in different ways, your culture is different, your people's like habit is different. So it's almost like not knowing where to start, but also what to start and then actually how to like enable like a successful rollout. And then sometimes when people are not fully enabled or trained on how to use an AI, and then your experienced employees, like they can do things faster than AI oftentimes because they've done it like 100 times, they've optimized how they're doing it, and then you put an AI tool in front of them and they're like, oh, this is not giving me the result I want, it's faster, I do it myself, or I don't have time to train a robot and stuff. And then you can face a lot of internal hesitation around like adopting AI at scale successfully. There's also like change management or employee training, in addition to assuming you've already found the right tool to build or use or to roll out at your organization.
So it sounds like number one is market differentiation, right? How, as you said, I like how you talk about whether is this a hype or this is actually for real, right? Number two is that the adoption, kind of the learning curve for AI, that once you have a tool, you get all these permissions set up. You have to make sure it's working properly. Yeah, and it has to be impressive. The more experienced employees. This reminds me that I think I went to a workshop, and then the SVP of Salesforce also mentioned that the AI adoption in B2B space has almost zero tolerance for hallucination. Because if I use some kind of, ChatGPT or cloud tools, if they hallucinate, I'll say, okay, I give it a thumbs down, right? But if it's in the workplace, if it gives me the wrong results, like, oh, maybe the strategy is a shift. So I can totally see that also being like you have a higher benchmark for any like accurate results and stuff.
And also in the consumer space, you might see, oh, this new model just got rolled out. It has like college level or master level reasoning and this and that, nailing all these math tests or whatever. But it's similar to like even someone who's like a PhD from like one of the best university programs in the world doesn't mean that person is gonna do a better job today compared to someone who's been at your company for 5-10 years. So it's almost not an apples to apples comparison, or just because someone is like passing like, I don't know, get 100% accuracy in SAT or MCAT, doesn't mean it can actually do a better job or even similar job compared to an experienced worker. So that's sort of the gap, right? A lot of the companies need to fill to sort of fully make AI useful.
So on a high level, kind of enterprise AI tools would have a low tolerance for inaccurate information. Because if I use ChatGPT with cloud, if something is wrong, then okay, I give a thumbs down, not a big deal. But if it's actually the workplace analytics will impact the company strategy, so I could see that have a much bigger risk.
And it's less about whether it has like PhD level reasoning, but more about if it's actually helping the workflow and the business results.
And then you mentioned that there are different tests, right? So for certain new models, it's a PhD level for math where you pass the perfect score for certain tests, but it doesn't matter at the enterprise level, right?
Because for a lot of use cases, say like insurance claim or like mortgage underwriting, you don't need like a PhD-level mathematician to do that. But you do need someone who understands the nuances, the regulation, maybe your internal policy on what qualifies, what doesn't, and things like that.
Yeah, so kind of having the context is pretty important. So it's not just about your intelligence, like the pure AI IQ level, but more about you understand how the role should be operating. And then you apply the AI technology. That makes sense.
Yeah.
My fourth question is, what are some advice do you have for people who want to transition into product marketing, maybe from other domains?
Yeah. I feel like the good thing about product marketing is almost everything you do is going to be out in the market anyway. So if you're interested in product marketing, you can like look at other companies who have good storytelling, good messaging, good positioning, like very crisp message, crisp content, like watch their keynote, look at their website, their blog, ebook, like their content and see what you like. And then sort of understand like why it's resonating with you, why this is a very clear messaging, why this differentiates A from B. And then just like learn from the best by that. Because the beauty is all the great product marketers work are out there public for everyone to grasp. So that's probably the best way to learn, just like from the other practitioners.
Yeah, that's a good point. When I think about kind of product management, the one surface is, you have those keynotes that some PM will make announcement in Google I/O, where you have blogs. But you're right, for product marketing, there are a lot more surfaces. I went to one of the webinar you hosted with the e-commerce leaders, and there, as you said, there are blogs, there could be interviews like this, and there are so many other ways for them to promote their products or some kind of technology. That makes sense. I think the learning materials will be a lot more actually for product marketing than other domains. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
and
sense.
Then there's like organizations like online, there's Sherbird and then like Product Marketing Alliance. They also host like conferences. So if you want to like meet people and network, you can go to these organizations to meet fellow product marketers. And then in the meantime, you can learn from the best by just like looking at their work out there.
Do you think having that degree, let's say, have that major in marketing or having the MBA, do you think that helped? Or is about kind of that's like foundational knowledge?
I think help like make you like a good writer, a good presenter, or just like develop like a general like business sense or business acumen. I don't think it's like required in terms of like as a major to get into marketing, but like it wouldn't hurt either.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And now kind of we get into some of the more fun questions. Yeah. The bonus questions I have, since I work at Stitch Fits, I got this dress from Stitch Fits, is what is your favorite clothing brand?
Yeah, I actually just like getting stuff from Shane.
Shane, okay.
Just like anything they have so many varieties. I think that's what I like. Like any color, like different thickness, materials and stuff. I just like the wider selection.
When I think about kind of the Bay Area workplace, I think engineers, they have a certain dress code. The dress code is no dress code, right?
Yeah.
But people working in business operations and product marketing is a little higher up, like a little fancier. Yeah, because you have a lot more external facing with your customers. And it makes sense. Okay, so now it's a spicy question. At Lenny's summit, Claire Vole made a really spicy kind of twist that she said product management is dead. So now I'm curious, do you think product marketing role is also like dead, or is it just significantly impacted by this whole AI revolution?
Yeah, I actually think product marketers' role has been elevated and we can actually be more impactful with AI. Like first of all is like all the deep research capabilities that AI can provide, right? Historically, maybe I can only be deep in one or two industries or personas or use cases, but now deep research saves me so much time. I can get a lot deeper in like a variety of industries or personas or use cases or markets, whatever product area. So I think that's like making like a product marketer just be more knowledgeable much faster. And so that's like a great accelerator. The second one is really like being like the broadcast my work like much faster because of all the content generation capabilities, right? AI has. And the last one, I think it's pretty unique to Glean. Obviously, we help companies like find the enterprise context. So I, as the product marketer, is like the internal SME for a lot of our marketing materials, use cases and stuff. Maybe historically not everyone know me or know what's in my brain, but now like I have these things out in like Glean's system, on like our internal like collection or Google Drive or Slack channels, and then people can just like find me and then reach out to me if they want like deal support, ask additional questions. So I actually found AI or like something like Glean not only like saves me time because I don't have to repeat myself 10 times and make 10 different calls to 10 different sellers explain the same thing. They can just search it via Glean, but also if they have more questions, they can reach out to me. They know I'm the internal SME, and it's much faster. Kind of like elevated like my profile, my work, and make more people able to use my work and add scale to me as an individual, and the team too. So yeah, I think AI is making like product marketers more powerful and more capable.
So I think it reminds me, I think what Jen Fang said, it's not like AI replacing people's jobs. It's people who use AI who replace people who don't use AI. So it sounds like your take is very similar to Jensen's perspective, is that with AI, the product marketing has been improved, enhanced, and elevated versus people who are hesitant to adopt AI. You know, their productivity will not be like 10x or 20x compared to people who use it. That makes sense. Yeah. So because when the AI first, you know, all these ChatGPT stuff first came out, there are so many copywriters like, oh, AI can replace all these, you know, those like one-liner like marketing campaigns. At the same time, I don't think AI is as good just yet, right? But people who use different AI tools kind of more efficiently, they were able to achieve better results.
Yeah, totally.
All right. These are all the questions I have. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, thank you, Yang.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.